Welcome to another edition of Dave Smith Unleashed, and wow, do we have a great show for you today, kind of turning back the clock, a throwback to one of the most popular segments I have ever done throughout the years, a term that I invented, and I always love doing it, and the fans love doing it, so this is going to be an absolutely great show. But first, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe for Dave Smith Unleashed. Like, comment, and subscribe, and as always, we always appreciate all you subscribers and everybody who listens to Dave Smith Unleashed. All right, remember back in the day, I invented the term man card violation. Now, I should have patented it because I hear it all the time. I see it on commercials. I'd be a rich man today had I patented this. A lot of people have tried to steal it from me, but I invented the term, and it was a Dave Smith original. And then it was always a couple of times a week, we'd give out man card violations. You know, people who are acting manly, people who are bringing disrepute to the testosterone-filled male, especially the sports fan. You know, it was really funny. People would call in and report themselves for man card violations, and I had a group of people I called the CIA holes that would report on their friends. And I always used to say, hey, you know what? If you think you're safe, if you think you're with your buddies, and if you're doing something unmanly, and one of them's a listener to the Dave Smith Show, or now Dave Smith Unleashed, well, they're going to contact me, and you're going to be busted and called out on the air, so be very, very careful who you talk around. So without further ado, here we go with an all-new set of man card violations.
Dave Smith is always watching and has spies everywhere. So if you're involved in unmanly behavior, a man card violation will be issued. And in extreme cases, a man card revocation.
Because every time you drop the ball, man-wise, I'm going to take one from you.
It's time for man card violations.
Well, at the top of the list, I don't think this is going to surprise anybody. This situation with the Minnesota Vikings in the National Football League, two male cheerleaders. Now, I know there are some male cheerleaders on other teams, and I know in college football there's male cheerleaders. In college sports there's male cheerleaders, but they're a little bit different. They're there mainly to throw the girls around and lift them up in the air. Now, I'm against male cheerleaders in college sports as well. I'm against male cheerleaders in all circumstances. But this Vikings thing is taking it to whole new levels. I mean, they're promoting these two. Their names are Blaze. That should tell you right then. One of the guys' names is Blaze. Blaze Sheik and Louis Kahn. And they're promoting it on Instagram, and they're wearing skirts, and they're dancing around, and they're just over-the-top flamboyant. And the National Football League just doesn't get it. Yeah, I know that they're bulletproof and they're always going to get ratings, and we always love football, and none of us are going to stop watching. And all these people who said they're going to cancel their season tickets in Minnesota, so far, none of them have done that. But the NFL, you have to understand your audience. It's a 25 to 54-year-old, 95% male audience, beer-guzzling men, you know, full of testosterone, who like to sit down and get away from the wives and get away from their problems and watch football on Sunday and Monday and Thursday. The demographic is 25 to 54-year-old beer-guzzling men. They don't want to see this crap. Men running around in skirts and doing cartwheels. No. Is it politically correct? No. Do I care? No. Man card violations for Roger Goodell, the National Football League, and the Minnesota freaking Vikings for putting this whole damn thing in front of us.
You've lost your man card.
All right, man card violation number 2. Now, this is interesting. In my entire history on the Dave Smith Show of dealing out man card violations, I've only given one to a woman over the years. And this is how that happened. I'm working at 1540 The Ticket back in the 2000s. We all remember that show when I was doing Afternoon Drive. That was so much fun. That was the most fun and the best time of my career doing that show. So I walk into the office one day, and a cute sales girl, one of the girls in sales, walks up to me, and she says, hey, there's a girl downstairs, because we work in an office building. There's a girl downstairs who works for a different company. She has a total crush on you. She is in love with you, and she is cute. She has a great body. I said, oh, really? Really? Well, why don't you send her up here one day? And she said, okay, I will. And then before that happened, though, I was having lunch one day downstairs, and I saw her, introduced myself. We had a nice chat. And I said, yeah, come on up anytime. So that afternoon, I'm on the air, and there she is walking through the front door of the radio station. And during a commercial break, I called her into the studio. You know, I'm flirting with her. We're getting along really great. It's obvious she likes me. And, she was cute. I liked her, too. And then while that's going on, while I'm about to close the deal, the cute sales girl walks in who told me this girl had a crush on me. And she comes in laughing, and she points at me and points at the girl, and she says, hey, he's unavailable. He's taken. Don't worry about him. He's not available. And then she walks out, and this girl got the look on her face, like all the color left her face. And then she said, nice to meet you, and walked out of there. And I walked in, and I started yelling at the sales girl. And then I gave her a man card violation on the air. So that's the only time that a female has ever received a man card violation on the Dave Smith. So, well, I'm about to make it number 2 today. And the name of the man card violatee is Monica McNutt on ESPN. Now, I have no idea who she is until I saw because I don't watch these debate shows on ESPN. But Monica McNutt, she's hosting a show. Now, she's hosting a national show, probably highly paid, giving her a forum on a network like that. And they're sitting around, and who is the special guest in the studio? The rapper Drewski. Evidently, he's from Detroit. I didn't know that, but Drewski walks in, and Stephen A. Smith is there, and she's hosting the show. And Drewski walks in, and he's wearing a Detroit Lions Barry Sanders jersey. I mean, the powder blue, the white, with the lion symbols on the shoulders. I mean, anybody who's followed sports, even lightly over the last 15 or 20 years would know how great Barry Sanders was, who he was, and he was a Detroit Lion, maybe the greatest Detroit Lion of all time. So they're doing the interview, and Monica McNutt, well, she is a nut, and they were nuts for hiring her. Again, obviously not qualified to be in the position she's in, and she was hired for other reasons, obviously. You know, doing the checklist thing. And she looks at Drewski and she says, wow, look at that, a Shedeur Sanders jersey. Good for you. Now, again, he's wearing a Detroit Lions powder blue jersey with lion symbols on the shoulders. And obviously, and he says, no, Barry Sanders. And she got a confused look on her face. Huh? She didn't know who he was. This is somebody hosting a show on a national network that doesn't know who Barry Sanders is. Here's Dave Smith. I can't get hired in local LA radio on the local stations. I'm on the no hire list for some reason. Somebody who knows more about LA sports than anybody in local radio, accomplished more than anybody in local radio. Born and raised in Los Angeles. I have a history of Los Angeles and Los Angeles sports better than anybody. I should be the first person hired at any Los Angeles sports talk station. And yet here I am. I can't get hired locally in LA Sports Talk Radio. And this person, Monica McNutt, who doesn't know who Barry Sanders is, she's hosting a show viewed by millions, a national show. A guy walks in with a Barry Sanders Lions jersey, and she doesn't know who he is and says, hey, good for you, Shedeur Sanders. You're giving him some props, some respect. And the look on Drewski's face, no, this is Barry Sanders. What the hell are you talking about? This is why this business is so frustrating sometimes. So, man card violation, the second one ever for a woman, man card violation for Monica McNutt.
You've lost your man card.
You know, I hate to think I'm picking on the guy, but I've given my neighbor, the guy across the street, several man card violations over the years, and he's about to get another one. Now, I'll give you some background. God, about a year or two ago, I'm out in the front yard, and he's driving into the house, and he pulls into the driveway, pulls into the garage, and I said, "Hey, where you been?" He said, "Oh, we went to the movies." And I said, "Oh, what'd you see?" And he said, "Barbie." And I looked at him, and I waited till his wife walked into the house. I said, "Are you insane? I'm going to give you a man card violation next time I'm on. That's Barbie. What are you doing going to?" "Well, the wife and the kids wanted to see it." "So stay home. No man goes to see that." So I gave him a man card violation immediately for that. But then a couple of weeks go by. I'm out in the front yard again, and I see his wife out in the garage doing some work, like some nuts and bolts work. You know, pounding a hammer and using a saw out, that electric saw out in the garage. Said, that's interesting. I wonder where the husband is. It's interesting that she's doing this. So out of curiosity, I made up an excuse to go over there. I said hi to her. Hey, what you doing? She said, oh, he's inside, my husband. He's inside. Go say hi. So I walk in through the kitchen door, and lo and behold, the man who went voluntarily to see Barbie, he was wearing an apron, cooking. And I said, oh, this isn't going to look good on your record. He said, I'll bet this is going to wind up on the air, isn't it? I said, you're damn right it is. Your wife's out there doing some grunt work out in the garage, fixing things. And look at you. You're wearing an apron and you're cooking dinner. So that was another man card violation from my neighbor. But wait till you hear this one here. So this time, about a day or two ago, I'm in my house and I'm blasting Heart on the speakers. I'm getting some work done and I'm getting ready for the next podcast. And I love Heart, man. Ann and Nancy Wilson, the heartthrobs of mine. I back in the day, I probably saw them in concert 10 times. Love hard rock and chicks. I mean, how much do we all love Heart? I saw them in concert here a couple of months ago. I took my daughter to the Forum in Los Angeles and just had a fantastic time. Love Heart, one of my all-time favorite bands. So I'm blasting away on Heart, and he walks through the garage, comes into the house, and says, that's a man card violation for you for listening to that chick music. I said, excuse me? He said, you're listening to chick music. That's a man card violation. I threw him the hell out of the house. I said, how dare you? How dare you say Heart is chick music? That's hard rock and great music. You don't know what you're talking about. I threw him the hell out. He hasn't been back since. Man card violation for saying Heart is chick music.
You've lost your man card.
Dave Smith Unleashed, brought to you by MTS Transportations. And mention the Dave Smith Unleashed podcast and get 20% off on your next shipment for all your shipping, trucking, and freight needs. There's only one business to call, and that's MTS Transportations at 800-640-6873. MTS Transportations, 800-640-6873. All right, man card violation. Now, we've gotten the male cheerleaders with the Vikings. We've gotten Monica McNutt. We've gotten my neighbor. That's 3 so far. Here's a 4th one. The NCAA, the National Collegiate Athletic Association. I mean, what they did to the University of Michigan with these sanctions is absolutely ridiculous. Now, we all know the story, the Connor Stallion story, where he was supposedly, spying on the other teams and doing some advanced scouting and having cameras on the other team while they gave their signals in and, taking pictures when they held up their signs for the signals. And now Michigan's in all kinds of trouble. Jim Harbaugh got suspended for that. Now their new head coach, Sharon Moore, has a 3-game suspension he has to serve, $20 million in fines for the Michigan Wolverines, a 8-year show cause ban for Connor Stallion, which means he can't coach college football again for 8 years, and a 10-year show cause ban for Jim Harbaugh, which means he can't coach again in college for 10 years. What the hell does he care about that? I mean, he's doing a good job with the Chargers. He'll still be in the NFL in 10 years coaching somewhere. I think, what does he care about a show cause ban in college football? But this is interesting from the NCAA here. Now, they said they didn't put any postseason sanctions or take any bowl games away from Michigan because it, quote, wasn't fair to the current players. See, here again is the hypocrisy of the NCAA. What about USC with the Reggie Bush situation back in the mid-2000s? How about that one, huh? Was that fair, taking 30 scholarships away for the next group of players that came in? It wasn't their fault. They were punished down the road long. That set the program back 5 years. For the next 5 recruiting classes, the program was set back, that and some bad coaching hires. Well, you didn't care about that it wasn't fair to current players in the case of the University of Southern California. And by the way, those penalties were excessive and unfair. You had Reggie's stepfather and mother. They got greedy and they took a house they couldn't afford and they had the rent paid by some kind of street hustler, street agent. Okay, fine. But 30 scholarships? Bans from the postseason? And Ohio State, in comparison, got a slap on the wrist. Remember Tattoo Gate? They got a 1-year probation. And and they were getting tattoos in exchange for merchandise, in exchange for gifts they would give the owners. And, allegedly, We don't know this for sure, but the word is, and some people I spoke with in Columbus said, well, that was also kind of a drug dealing operation out of that tattoo shop. And some of the players may have been, again, allegedly getting some illicit substances, not just not just giving them paraphernalia. But it wasn't fair to the current players. Listen to the NCAA there and their hypocrisy. But here's another reason to give them a man card violation. To me, this is absolutely ridiculous. Much like the Houston Astros situation where they were, banging on the trash cans. And I said at the time, you know what? If they're stealing your signals, that's on you, Major League Baseball, opposing teams. That's on you. You have to assume the other team has cameras out in the outfield. They're watching the catcher. They're relaying signals to the manager. And in this age of texting and cell phones and computers, well, of course they can relay information to the hitter immediately. You got to change up the signals all the time. That's on you if you're getting signals stolen. That's a time-honored tradition in baseball. Even me, a young Dave Smith. I was a high school pitcher. And whenever a runner got to second base, the catcher and I, we knew automatically whoever was on second base would be signaling the hitter about what pitch was coming. He'd be one. We had it simple: 1 fastball, 2 curve, 3 changeup. That's the 3 pitches I threw. So we had to deal automatically when a runner got to second base. We changed. All of a sudden then, 1 was curve, 2 was fastball, 3 was change. Or, we changed everything up. We'd all move down 1 number. Or he'd tap his hand on his knee, and that would be a dummy call where the signals would stay the same. If he tapped his shoulder, they moved down 1 spot. If he tapped his face mask, that meant they moved down 2 spots. And nobody ever stole signals because we loved it when they tried to steal, because we'd cross them up. The hitter would think a fastball was coming and I'd throw him a curve. It was easy for us. Same thing with Michigan here. That is on you, Big Ten opponents. If Connor Stallions is on the sideline, or if he's up in the stands, if he's an advanced scout, or Michigan has cameras at the games and they're stealing your signals, that's on you. What, you don't change your signals every game? You have to assume other teams are watching your sideline, they're filming you, and they're trying to steal signals. Of course you have to assume that. But you kept them the same every game. You should change them every game. Some coaches change them every series. So if they're stealing your signals, that's your fault. Not Connor Stallions, not Jim Harbaugh, not the University of Michigan. And I remember a great quote Bill Walsh had back in the day. Remember when he was coaching at Stanford, he'd have the backup quarterback on his right and the third-string quarterback on his left. And they'd both be signaling in plays at the same time. Like one was a dummy call, one was the real play, or they'd change the call or whatever. And they asked Bill Walsh if he was concerned, because all the games are on TV and they had cell phone technology coming in and the internet. Are you concerned about the opponent stealing signals? And the genius, the great coach Bill Walsh, my favorite coach of all time because I'm a 49ers fan, he got a big smile on his face and said, "We love it. I love it when they try to steal signals. It's the greatest thing they could ever do for us." And they asked him why. He said, "Because we cross them up. Every time they think they're stealing signals, we hit them with a big play." So we go ahead, steal signals because we change them. And he would change the signals not only every game, every series. So if you thought you knew what was coming with Bill Walsh and you set up your defense because you were sure you knew that a play was coming, then they'd go the other way or run a different play and they'd burn you with it. See, that should be the same all the time. Listen, if you're college football, NFL, whatever, you should change the signals at least once a week. And Bill Walsh used to change the signals every series. Every time his offense got the ball, they changed signals. So everybody bitching and whining about the Houston Astros, that's on you if they were stealing signals. That's your fault. And University of Michigan opponents whining and crying, "Oh, they were stealing our signals." Well, of course they were. There's cameras everywhere. There's cell phones everywhere. There's internet, laptops everywhere. Of course they're watching you. Of course they're going to try to figure out what play is coming. You can't stay with the same play calls week after week and let them watch it on film. So multiple man card violations right here for the NCAA. 1, for being hypocrites. 2, for punishing Michigan the way they did. And 3, for all these dopes in the media who are saying Michigan got exactly what they deserve and should have gotten more. No, they shouldn't have gotten more. If they're stealing your signals, that's on you. So man card violation for every damn one of you.
You've lost your man card.
Okay, that does it for Dave Smith Unleashed. Make sure to subscribe, like, and comment. Make sure to listen every week. We appreciate all the subscribers, and lots of great shows for you coming up later this week as well. So make sure you stay tuned and make sure you listen to Dave Smith Unleashed.